everyone. Let's go ahead and jump in and get started. I know there'll be a couple of folks that continue to join here, but hello and thanks for joining us. This is All In Technology's PizzaCast for April. We have special guest Cloudbrink on the line with us today. We're really excited about our partnership with Cloudbrink. But first, let me take care of some housekeeping items, right? If you do not have your pizza yet, or you haven't gotten your pizza, or you haven't received an email stating you're getting a gift card because you are outside the order zone, right? Please feel free to drop your name, email in the chat. Peter May, who is on here, will handle all of those points and escalations for us. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and kick off and get going here. So again, thanks everybody for joining us today. I'm Mike Arnhart, CRO of All In Technology. We'll do a brief intro here about All In Technology. It'll be approximately 2.5 slides. And then we will hand it over to our folks at Cloudbrink, who are the guest of honor. Today is really about them, so they will have the majority of time speaking. But a couple of quick introductions about AIT, who we are, what we do, and how we go to market, right? We partner with leading folks such as Cloudbrink, obviously offering services both in the managed and in the VAR space. So we can go ahead and if you want to just advance, Raul, one quick slide here. Right, who we are, what we do, why we do it, right? You'll see here real quickly, right? We're a team of engineers, problem solvers, right? Delivering scalable, smart IT solutions to our customers. Rather than being on the back end, right? We like to be on the forefront of technology with our customers, meaning we like to provide strategy roadmaps. We have the unique advantage of sitting in multiple meetings a day with multiple other customers who are solving business challenges much the same as you all are, right? Which is why we partner with somebody like Cloudbrink. I'll say it just like this, right? Cloudbrink is very secure. It's easy to use, remote access and other parts and pieces that the technical folks will do. But I'll just tell you this, right? If I can log in and make it happen on a regular, easy basis, then it's really, really easy. Trust me, my engineers will be the first to tell you that if I can log in, I can make Cloudbrink connect to wherever in the world I'm sitting and what I'm trying to access from our company. It is really that easy, right? Our services, if you want to know, right, we're a full-scale MSP, 24/7, 365. Most of our resources are here locally, right, in Colorado, Wisconsin, and other strategic areas around the U.S., right, helping provide customers secure, number one, right, but services, number two, across the globe. Raul, if you want to hit our last slide here real fast. These are the places that we play, as I spoke about briefly, right? And Cloudbrink is able to be twofold for us, right? It's a point product, but most importantly, it'll be in our managed services offerings as well moving forward, right? For secure connectivity. The other places we play here, you can start to see, right? I think if you were to ask many of our customers who are on the line today, what we do really well outside of managed services is Microsoft, right? We have a team of experts internally here, both for licensing and for deployment of multiple Microsoft products, teams, Intune, cloud, all of those sort of things. The other few things that we work on, and I would be remiss not to mention, right? You'll probably see a really, really big cybersecurity announcement. Gentleman who is going to be joining AIT here in the next 30 days. So we're super excited about that. He has a long list of industry recognitions. So we at AIT are super excited to have him. It further enhances what we do already with security services for all of our customers, knowing that everything we do has to be secure in their environment. And lastly, you can start to see here, we do some network and communication services, right? Along with some government compliance. As you guys, any of you are working with anything in the federal government today, you know that the compliance issues are real. They're rearing their ugly heads on a regular basis just to be able to bid on contracts. So, Raul, if we could jump to the next one real fast. You guys will see this. This is a really cool thing that we're trying out with Cloudbrink, right? It's a QR code here. Basically, it's going to give you special pricing until the end of May. Right? So anybody that's on this call here, they can take this. We'll show this again in the end. But as I mentioned, we want to take very little time, meaning AIT. We want to pass this over to our trusted partners at Cloudbrink. Raul and team, thank you for your partnership. We look forward to continuing it as we go. Without anything further from us as I mentioned one more time, Peter is in the chat. If you need anything with pizzas, he's your man. Otherwise, Raul, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Mike. All right, thank you for joining us today. I'm Raul Mesqua. I'm a senior solution architect at Cloudbrink. I bring over 25 years of experience building and securing complex large-scale networks, primarily focused on network and remote access security. At Cloudbrink, my primary mission is simple: eliminate the performance barrier of traditional remote access. I'm looking forward to walking you through how we're pioneering the next generation of personal SASE and zero trust access to make hybrid work for your organization. So today's reality is that work is anywhere. Over 70% or 71% of workers are either hybrid or fully remote, with about 91% of those working from home showing higher satisfaction than working from the office. Organizations are able to hire talent from a global instead of a local workforce. Yet the weakest link to organizations is in achieving ideal productivity, is the worker's connection to the organization's applications and resources. So there are many organizations that continue to use legacy VPNs. Organizations today have a distributed architecture, with many using a hybrid on-prem and multi-cloud strategy. Legacy VPNs rely on a decades-old architecture. This introduces a number of challenges for those organizations still using that legacy VPN. So because of the distributed architecture, when a VPN user is connecting, they have to go ahead and backhaul traffic across expensive MPLS connections and slow-performing site-to-site VPN tunnels. This is going to kill the application performance and the user productivity. And that's what leads to the next point here, which is the user experience pain. So users experience pain by having video freezing, by having their drop sessions, and also slower performance and lag, even when they're using VDI solutions or other solutions that are meant to go ahead and address some of that latency. On the cybersecurity front, traditional VPN, legacy VPN creates a massive attack surface. Threat actors, if they're able to go ahead and breach that VPN gateway, which we see them many times in the news, they gain broad lateral access, east-west access across the entire network. So for those that have moved off a legacy VPN onto a standard ZTNA, a new realization is setting in. Standard ZTNA solutions focus on the security aspect, but ignore the network access performance. Based on our research, and it's been corroborated by Gartner Dex, if a user experiences a slow connection or session drops, the approximate reduction in productivity is about 5%. That equates to thousands of dollars lost per employee every single year. But the root cause is that standard ZTNA is ignoring that last mile performance impairment that's caused by a user's poor home Wi-Fi, high jitter, and packet loss. The solution is Cloudbrink. Cloudbrink is an edge-native, high-performance, zero-trust network access solution. It has a modern architecture designed for high quality of experience wherever the user works. So Cloudbrink focuses on providing an ultra-low latency connection by overcoming last-mile packet loss and jitter. Also provide universal high-performance connectivity, regardless if the users are accessing web-facing or SaaS applications, resources in public clouds, or internal data centers, and providing a dynamic, continuous, zero-trust validation of the user, their device, and the context around that user. Where is the user located? What time of day are they connecting? Bringing all these together is what Cloudbrink does to provide a modern and high-performing secure access. Cloudbrink has an edge-native SaaS architecture. So Cloudbrink has three main components to it. It has the Brink app, which can be installed on many different platforms, including Windows, Linux, Macs, iOS, Android, Chrome OS, and many more. The Brink app, what it'll do, it'll go ahead and provide access only to the resources that have been defined for that user. One of the things that sets Cloudbrink apart from a lot of competitors is that with Cloudbrink, you can go ahead and define very granular access to specific applications, or you can provide broad access, maybe to a /24, to a whole network, where that granular access is not required. So it provides that flexibility to the teams that require that to control the access going in. Also, the Brink app is going to go ahead and validate the device, the user's device posture. So it can go ahead and check for the operating system. Is their antivirus up to date? Is the personal firewall enabled? Do they have all security patches? Where are they connecting from? You can, on Windows machines, you can even check the registry. You can go ahead and run scripts on a lot of different operating systems to be able to truly assess the posture of that device and see if you're going to trust it or not. Cloudbrink can also interrogate internet-bound traffic through its DNS-based secure web gateway. So the Brink agent has a DNS-based secure web gateway right into it. You don't need a different agent running on that device. And so any traffic that is not defined, it can go ahead and put guardrails around that to be able to control which type of sites users are going to. And in the near future, we'll also be deploying guardrails around the user's use of generative AI. So being able to control what type of generative AI the users are permitted to use. Maybe you want to allow Copilot, but you're going to deny Grok. And also controlling what information is being provided to those generative AI solutions to make sure they're not putting any sensitive information in there. And that's going to help organizations meet compliance requirements, for example, like HIPAA compliance for anybody in the medical industry. The Brink Fast Edge will work together with the Brink app to optimize the network performance in that last mile. We use a number of our own protocols to go ahead and analyze and determine any type of latency or any type of impairment that's being caused. But we'll also analyze and determine the best route to forward the traffic to its final destination, whether it's a SaaS application or web-facing application, or to the organization's on-prem and cloud resources. And then the Brink Connector. The Brink Connector is a hard virtual appliance that will be hosted in a private environment wherever users need to access any non-public applications or non-web-facing applications or services. It can be hosted on hypervisors such as VMware, Proxmox, Hyper-V, KVM, and others. It can also be hosted in the cloud such as Azure, AWS, GCP, Oracle. The connections are all secured utilizing mutual TLS or MTLS 1.3. So in order to ensure the latest in connectivity security, we have adopted an automated moving target defense. This works alongside with our MTLS 1.3. So the certificates that establish that connection, so in MTLS, you need a certificate on both ends of the connection. While traditional VPNs that use certificates, they will set their certificates to be good for 1 to 3 years. What we're doing is we're rotating those certificates out every 8 hours. By rotating those certificates every 8 hours, we're ensuring that threat actors are unable to harvest and reverse engineer any certificates, protecting your resources and the integrity of your environment. Cloudbrink also employs an invisible network architecture. Because we're using a software-defined perimeter architecture, we separate the control plane from the data plane. The connectors that are in the data center or in your cloud environment will create a control plane outbound to the fast edge and then establish a data plane on top of that. So what this allows the application to do is to go ahead and write on top of that data plane without needing an inbound connection. The end result is that you will need 0 inbound ports opened up on the edge firewall. This, along with our continuous validation of the identity of the user, the posture of the device, and the context around that user, you're able to go ahead and we're able to provide you an automated moving target defense that ensures the integrity of your data and your infrastructure. Cloudbrink also extends zero trust to your internet-facing SaaS applications. So for any applications that support IP filtering or IP pinning, such as Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, Salesforce, and many other ones, we're able to add an additional layer of security. So because the users are connecting from a known entity and they're coming through the Brink fast edges, you can lock down the source IPs for those SaaS services to our fast edges. And so the end result is that you're going to be able to reject, that SaaS application is going to be able to reject any traffic coming from anywhere else. So if you think about the path for these users, so maybe we'll go ahead and pick on for example, on Microsoft, and let's say you have an admin that's going into the Intune portal to be able to make changes. In order to go ahead and protect the environment, you know you have a user that's coming in with a Brink agent. Their machine is being validated. You can check for certificates on there, make sure it's a managed workstation, making sure they meet all the posture requirements. Their traffic is going to go ahead and be routed through the Cloudbrink Fast Edge. And then because the traffic is going to be locked down to that fast edge, in this example, Intune will be able to go ahead and reject all other traffic unless it's coming from Cloudbrink. And now you've added an additional layer of security to that web-facing service. So there are a number of Cloudbrink proprietary protocols and methods that we utilize to improve the performance in that last mile segment for the user's connection. These protocols focus on reducing jitter and performing recovery of packet loss. This is a test that I performed where I downloaded a 1 gig file. On average, it took about 14 minutes to be able to download that file without Cloudbrink. Once I started up my Cloudbrink connection, that time dropped down to 51 seconds. These results have been experienced by most of our customers. Their users experience a significant improvement in performance when downloading large files or using latency-sensitive and data-intensive applications. For example, architecture firms that are using Autodesk and Revit, medical facilities that need to go ahead and review any imaging, movie studios and game developers that are working with terabyte-sized files. So this has been a consistent experience, and it's all because of the way we go ahead and manage the last mile segment of the network. Cloudbrink also provides visibility and controls onto a user's internet connection through our DNS-based secure web gateway, and soon we'll be adding visibility into and guardrails around generative AI. So this is something that we're working on right now, and it allows us to go ahead and provide a complete secure control around each user's connecting in, so you know exactly what the users are accessing and make sure they don't go ahead and access things that are not that you don't want them accessing. So Cloudbrink, the admin portal is hosted in AWS. We go ahead and provide tenancy to our customers, so it's not something you have to go ahead, your organizations have to go ahead and manage. Through our, and I'll go into a demo here in a little bit, but through our admin portal, you gain great visibility. So like what I mentioned before, soon we'll have that Gen AI visibility, but now you already have session mapping as well as hop analysis to be able to determine where the exact latency is. So one of the things in my experience when you're working with remote access, the things that they're asking is like users are complaining about slow performance, but you have no visibility from the user's home all the way to wherever the gateway is. We're changing that up with our solution. So some practical considerations for VPN replacement is to go ahead and ensure to evaluate the last mile and ensure the solution that you're looking at remediates poor home Wi-Fi and packet loss rather than just providing a secure tunnel over a bad connection. Plan for user impact migration, select an architecture that can run seamlessly alongside legacy VPNs, but also makes it easy to be able to migrate from a legacy VPN type of architecture where you're providing broad access over to a more granular access. With Cloudbrink, because we have flexibility in the way you create your access policies, where you can provide that broader access to begin with, it makes it really easy for our customers to be able to migrate from a VPN over to Cloudbrink ZTNA and then gradually start rolling in much more granular access. And then assess the true zero trust. Look beyond single sign-on capabilities, verify that platforms offer continuous identity, posture, and context validation. So let me go into a little bit of a demo. So like I mentioned before, Cloudbrink is hosted in AWS. The way so we go ahead and provide access to your port. So you will have your own tenant where you'll be able to go ahead and manage your access policies and your users, and be able to go ahead and do any type of troubleshooting that's necessary. So the admin portal provides role-based access control where you can go ahead and provide support teams read-only access while your admins can go ahead and have full read and write access. The way the portal is laid out, you have a monitor section here where you have all your analytics, all your application data. You'll have a configure section where you will have all your access policies, your integrations with your other systems, and then you'll have the troubleshooting section where you can go ahead and look at the logs and the session analytics. So taking a look at a couple of these screens, you'll see the main dashboard provides you overall visibility into the connection and the health of users. If you look at
Everything's tested, functional. We have the camera mounted, got the angle on that set.
nice.
We need
Hi, Seth.
to
If you're on the
Correct.
call, could you please mute your microphone? I think we've got some feedback.
I just
Thank you.
muted him.
Thank you.
Oh, perfect.
So the next section here is where we go into the performance. You can see overall performance. Now, this information here, you can also look at it per user. Here we're looking at it for the whole organization, and you can see how many packets has been recovered. The average jitter time, Cloudbrink here is keeping jitter down to about 1 millisecond, and your typical response time. So a lot of this you can be able to go ahead and analyze and just see the overall health. A lot of this information too can be pulled out though. So Cloudbrink is it's based on it has an extensive API library where you can go ahead and integrate using APIs. We also integrate with any type of SIMs or other type of tools that need to go ahead and pull data out for their own analysis, their own reporting or recording of events. So one of the other things that you have here in the monitor section is the visibility into the internet use of the user. So this is going to be anything that has not been defined, anything, them going out to Facebook or any other sites. You can go ahead and create different policies on what's gonna be blocked, what's gonna be permitted. So you can go ahead and pull this data out to be able to feed it into other systems. You need to go ahead and keep track of it, or you can go ahead and do filters through here and then just do regular exports. Going into the configure section. So one thing you'll notice with Cloudbrink, it's a very simple platform to go ahead and use and create policies. It was designed from the very beginning as a true cloud-based ZTNA solution. And you'll see that throughout this demo. So for example, one of the things that we do is you're able to go ahead and set up local authentication servers, but we also support integration with IDPs using SAML 2.0. So for example, I have a SAML 2.0 integration here, and then I have a number of local authentication servers. Now, those local authentication servers, those are a lot of times those are used by small organizations that don't have an IDP, or they're also used by large organizations in case they have a use case where we have these contractors, we have these vendors, we need to provide them temporary access. I don't want to add them into my Entra ID. So you're able to go ahead and do that through here, create policies for or authentication servers for them. So you can go ahead and provide them, and you can still assign them groups to be able to control what they have access to. You have the device security posture assessment. And so if I look at one right here, there's a number of things you can go ahead and add to these. So for example, you can look for on a device if their antivirus is up to date, any blacklisted apps that you don't want running on their machines, or whitelisted apps as well. Certificates, you can run custom scripts. So with those custom scripts, you want to run a PowerShell script or Bash script on a user's device to be able to get some additional information or make some kind of change. We had customers use that to update local host files on the machines. There's a lot of different uses you can do, and it provides you that flexibility. You can look for a personal firewall, operating system version, patch levels, look at the registry for Windows machines. So a lot of flexibility in there. For mobile devices, you can check if the mobile device is jailbroken or rooted and be able to control access based on that. So going on to the way we go ahead and create policies, as I mentioned before, Cloudbrink can go ahead and provide access to both web-facing or SaaS applications, as well as private applications that are in a data center or in a private cloud environment. So in order to be able to set up a web-facing application, it's very straightforward. You see a number of them already configured there, but to go ahead and create a policy, it's not a complex configuration you have to do, and you don't have to change anything on that web-facing application. The only time you would have to make a change on the SaaS service or anything like that is if you're going to use the IP pinning, where you'll set up, for example, in Microsoft, you'll set up a conditional access to only receive traffic coming from a Cloudbrink Fast Edge. But you're adding the name, the type of application that it is, whether it's UCaaS, VDI, web application, add the domains, and if there's an IP address associated with it, add the IP addresses. Very straightforward. When you make changes on here, any users that are connected will, and they're part of these policies, they will receive those updates within about a minute. And so they'll automatically start seeing that performance improvement. Now, for any internal applications, one of the things I mentioned before is that you have flexibility in how you define the access policy. So there's a couple of them here. I'll pick on this one here. So there's a WordPress server that I have over in an isolated network in my lab. And what you see, you can go ahead and define IP addresses. If I want to, I can narrow it down by port and protocol. I can go ahead and define it by fully qualified host name as well. Another unique thing that Cloudbrink offers is that because of the way our solution is architected, we can enable server-initiated connections. So some of our customers are using this for example, PDQ, in order to identify the devices and be able to go ahead and pull the devices that are connected to the network that are currently connected to Cloudbrink. So the PDQ server internally will reach out to that remotely connected user. So a lot of ZTNA solutions cannot provide that. That is something that we do provide, and it really helps our customers when they have that type of use case. So, and then setting up the connectors. Connectors, very easy to go ahead and set up. Like I mentioned before, they can be hosted on a number of different hypervisors as well as different cloud environments. The connectors are hardened virtual appliances that can be loaded in there. They can be configured as active, active standby, as well as standalone. And for IP management, they support a number of different type of IP methods. So they can use SourceNet. You can do IP pool, where you assign an IP pool to a specific connector, or you can integrate it with your DHCP, so that DHCP is issuing out the addresses to the users that are connecting in. And then to create an access policy, you just go ahead and very simply, you can create a policy, and then just adding in the applications that are going to be optimized for that user, as well as the enterprise resources, the internal applications they have access. With the integration to with Entra ID, one of the things that you can do is you can associate different groups to different policies, different groups within Entra ID to different policies that are here. So I have a couple here as an example. So these are all Entra ID groups that I have, and they have different policies associated with them. So if I move a user from one group over to another one, then they will go ahead and receive those new policies and lose access to whatever they had access to before. And so that makes it real easy to be able to manage the solution without having to go into Cloudbrink to make those type of changes. You could just do it from Entra ID. So going over to our internet security. This is the portion I was talking about, where it's a DNS-based secure web gateway. You can pick and choose which what categories you're going to allow or deny for users, or maybe you just want to monitor. It's simple, point and click. You're just going to go ahead and go through the categories, pick whichever categories you want to allow and block. But maybe there are some that you want to allow, but you don't want them going to any type of high-risk sites that are within that category. And that's why we've enabled the reputation feature as well, where you can control the reputation of site that you're going to allow your user to access. So they're going to be allowed into the computer internet security, but they're not going to be allowed into any type of high-risk sites there. You can go ahead and configure exceptions to that. Very simple to go ahead and do just by adding them here. All right, so as we move over to the support, the troubleshooting part, number of different things here. So first of all, if we look at our logs, like I mentioned before, we can go ahead and integrate this with any type of SIM or syslog that you may have, and this can go ahead and be pushed out. You can customize what exactly is being sent. I know sometimes they have different, you want these events going and not those events. You can go ahead and customize that. You can also manage it from within here. So you can go ahead and do filters, filter out for specific users, specific events. Also, a lot of times when you're having done this for a long time, having to go through logs, you see a lot of noise there. Well, one of the things that we've recently enabled is to be able to show unique events. So any type of events that are repetitive, For example, this one here, there's 78 events that pretty much have the same information there. It collapses that. Much easier for a support person or an engineer to go through this quickly and be able to figure out what exactly is going on. Now, for the users that are connected, so I have a test account here, and here's where we really show the power of Cloudbrink to be able to show you the whole path of where the user, from where the user is connecting all the way to the resources that they're accessing. So here we have this this test user here. They're connected through a Windows 11 machine. If I click on here, I'll be able to see information about that machine that they're connected with, the operating system, last time they connected. If we go ahead and dive a little bit down into here, we can see some of their metric data. If you need to isolate it by specific services, you can go ahead and do that to be able to dive a little bit deeper into that information. Now, what you see right here is between this workstation and the fast edge, we have 6 milliseconds of latency. So before, when I mentioned that we have the fast edges, we set up those fast edges. We try to achieve at most 20 milliseconds away, keeping that distance nice and short because we're using certain protocols to be able to optimize that. That's where we're seeing the majority of that in performance impairment. So by clicking on the latency here, you'll be able to dive deeper into what exactly is going on that connection. Are users downloading large files, and are they seeing good performance? Is there high packet loss? So you'll be able to dive in deeper into that. You can click on the fast edge to get more information of where that particular fast edge is located. And then on the back end of the fast edge, so what the fast edge is going to do, like I mentioned before, it's been hosted in a number of different cloud environments. So in Azure and AWS, Google Cloud, we actually have a diversity of places where we host these fast edges so that in case a particular hyperscaler goes down, for example, when Azure went down, users were able to connect through AWS fast edges. So the user doesn't experience any type of impact. But on the back end, what the fast edge is going to do, it's going to go ahead and evaluate the connection going from the fast edge to wherever the final destination is, whether it's a connector in a particular data center or whether it's a SaaS application. And so this traffic here, for example, is going out the fast edge, going over to a connector, and we can look at that traffic as well, be able to see, all right, is there any performance issues occurring there? Especially if the user is experiencing problems, you're not sure, is it the application, is it the network connection? And then you'll be able to go ahead and dive deeper into that actual connector you have in your environment. Be able to look at the traffic on there, and there's other screens that also show this information as well. And then you can look at your actual application. What was being downloaded, what is the upload download speed, any packet loss or packet recovered specific to this application. So it's visibility along the whole path. Now, the way I have this designed here is that these two connectors are in the same location, but I have two isolated networks. So this is what I refer to as my net 20, and this one's my net 30. So this one here, this network here has no access to the internet except for this connector. If a user is going to access these resources, they have to come in through this connector. So now I've just applied network segmentation, segmenting that out, protecting anything that's in there. So I know anybody that's coming into this particular space, it's a known entity. Same thing with my net 30, where I have there's a file server, where I have a different file server that's within that network segment. Now, this user has permission to access both of these applications here through these connectors, but other users wouldn't have that same privilege. So it gives you that type of granular control, and you can see it's very easy, very simple to manage and to be able to go ahead and set up, allowing smaller organizations to be able to achieve network segmentation and be able to protect the integrity of those services that they're hosting. Now, for any web-facing applications, let me see if I can find one that's a little bit more interesting. So we're also tracking the information or the use of any type of traffic that the user is going to any SaaS application or anything that's been defined as an application service. So for example, this one here on YouTube, you could see the performance information on it. So if they're seeing slow performance from YouTube or from a particular SaaS application, you can take a look. Is it the network or is it something else? Is something going on their end? So We strive to go ahead and provide as much visibility, as much information, so that it reduces the amount of time it takes for support teams to be able to resolve any issues. Also helps them identify what the true root cause is. In the end result is that support teams are able to accomplish a lot more with the tools that we're providing them. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just go back to the slides here. Talking a little bit about the Cloudbrink licensing. So the Cloudbrink licensing is very simple. It's a SaaS style license. So we're not going to go ahead and add all these different line items to it. Cloudbrink license, it's based on the number of named users. Each user can connect with up to 5 devices. So if you have a user, they have a managed device, they have a BYOD, they have a phone, they have an iPad, those will all be covered under a single license. The license also includes the management portal, so you're not paying separate for the management portal. You're not paying for CPU or memory or storage or anything like that. Unlimited connectors. Unlike a traditional VPN, we have to pay for each individual gateway. Here we have unlimited connectors. You can go ahead and stand them up. It really helps our customers achieve that micro-segmentation without additional cost. Unlimited fast edges. Wherever your users are located, like I mentioned before, we set up those fast edges about 20 milliseconds away from wherever you have users or wherever they typically travel to. So those are unlimited. We don't go ahead and charge for those. And then unlimited applications. You don't have to purchase tiers of applications. Okay, I need to go ahead and purchase a 20 pack to allow 20 applications to come through. Or now I need to go ahead and license 100 because now we're growing. We don't do any of that. And also unlimited bandwidth. We're not a consumption-based solution, so we're not charging for the bandwidth that you're utilizing. And that really helps organization grow their implementation without having to worry about any surprises on the pricing side. The support is included within that licensing SKU. Support for the fast edges, support for the connectors, and we also include onboard training. So we go ahead and provide training to your admins. You don't have to purchase additional separate training for that. And some of the other things that I mentioned on here, obviously the ZTNA solution, the DNS-based secure web gateway, the AI visibility, and the guardrails, which are coming soon, that is also all included within the license. So that's what I had planned to go ahead and present to you today. Here's a QRC code. Thank you very much for attending today and for listening to about Cloudbrink. And you can always reach out, ask any questions, and set up some time with us to be able to so we can go ahead and show you the solution in a much more deeper demo.
Hello, and team. Thank you so much. If there's any questions, if somebody wants to come off mute, go ahead and we'll take some questions now. Either Domino's killed him, Raul, or you did a great job, man. I'm not sure if it's that or a combination of both of them.
Yeah.
It's always one or the other, right?
Right?
Raul, there was a question in chat and Graham answered it, but does Cloudbrink provide DLP protection?
So that's some of the functionality that we're going to be adding for the AI, for the generative AI, where you'll be able to go ahead and look at what users are putting into those chatbots or what the AI that's embedded in applications, which we see a lot of that today, what it's grabbing and sending over. So with the AI-based DLP that we're going to be adding here shortly, we'll be able to go ahead and recognize that, and then you can go ahead and configure the response to that breach of policy. You can either have it mask the information. So, for example, if somebody's sending over a spreadsheet with all this information and they happen to have social security numbers in there and they're going to send it over to AI, hey, generate a report for me. Well, you can go ahead and detect that and just mask the social security numbers, but let everything else go. Or you can go ahead and block access to that file altogether. Or you could just set it to leave it alone. Don't block it. Don't do anything, but record the event. So that the security teams can then evaluate it. So that's some of the DLP that we're going to be introducing here shortly around the AI.
Perfect. Thanks for that. Anybody else have any other additional questions? Otherwise, Cloudbrink folks, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it. I speak on behalf of AIT. And the folks online, thanks for all the information, right? We will be in contact soon with some follow-ups. Otherwise, thanks everybody for your time today. Hope the pizza didn't put you to sleep too much. Thanks for joining us again. If you do look at our website, I'd be renounced not to say something real quickly about our next event, right? Go look on our website. Our next presenters for our PizzaCast next month are Dialpad. So a UC contact center solution, great providers, great partnership we've had with them in the past and continue to. So feel free to go on there and register today. Again, Cloudbrink, thank you guys so much. Much appreciated. Everybody have a great day. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you to everybody for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.